Start off in this best of 5 final from ESL Open Cup Europe number 143 with MaxPax in the top right corner of the map. In the bottom left from our sports HeroMarine, our red Terran player, as we kickstart into game number 1 of this series. And MaxPax had a bit of a resurgence in his TvP. I'd say like 2 to 3 months ago. Kind of really felt like he became very scary in the matchup again, but more recently I have felt like MaxPax has again been kind of struggling in this matchup and not quite as decisive, especially if the game doesn't quite go his way in the first couple minutes. You know, the first 5-6 minutes around that kind of typical blink aggression he does so much with, or other kind of early game shenanigans. And then I really feel like MaxPax does struggle a little bit again against Terrans right now, so I was excited to see a best of 5 play out with him and any of the top Terran players just to see how that's looking, because when I do talk about MaxPax at the moment, I do think back to some of the series I casted of him versus Kalazur, my European League, for example, and while they were fun series and Kalazur's great, you know, there is still, you know, Clem and HeroMarine. These are the guys that you've really got to beat to be the very top of Europe. And like I say, I'm talking about it because MaxPax did look shaky in some of those series against Kalazur, but he also started to look better toward the end, so like I say, to me, this is just a fun series for that reason alone. As we get this set up, SCV gonna nibble up the probe. And it's just a Zeld already starting from MaxPax, so potentially some aggression. High ground CC from HeroMarine. Already something we never saw from him at all in the previous best of 3. So we just watched HeroMarine against Showtime, and yeah, expect HeroMarine to play very differently because, well, obviously, you're kind of playing a Pros player now who does lean a little bit more on that aggression, who does lean a little bit more on getting damage done early in the game, rather than aiming for the macro game quite as much. So, yeah, definitely going to be fun as well to see just how HeroMarine plays differently throughout the course of this series as well. Probe just getting a pylon in place on the bottoms, just getting that set up as we do have our warp gate coming through, our factory in production, depot on the way, another gateway just going to be going down as well, just getting that placed on the 6 o'clock, and this Reaper starting to fight this Zealot already. The Zealot already taking quite a few hits, and it's going to be pushed back through the center of the map, where the Stalker is going to show up and just going to be having 2 more gateways on the way. So this is already MaxPax looking to apply some heavy gateway pressure early in this game. It's the exact kind of thing that MaxPax loves to do. So already kind of really leaning heavily on his kind of aggressive identity in this PvT matchup. Already aiming straight for that. As this Reaper does end up backing away up through the center just a little bit. Stalker gets blown up by a Widowmine. Nice easy cleanup there as we have a couple extra Marines popping out. Another mine coming through. Medevac still on the way. Just going to be having our CC floating into position on the natural expansion. So getting that set in place as our Reaper will come around the side here. And again, just trying to figure out exactly what it would like to get up to. A couple of additional Marines still coming in as well. And a tech lab or 2 on the way from HeroMarine. For now, our Marines will be hanging out on this low ground. Just going to be seeing the few SCVs pulled into this as well. So, 1 SCV going down, make that a second. And, yeah, I mean, so far, this light pressure is not doing too badly. I mean, obviously, a couple of workers is nice. Just stopping all of these other SCVs from mining. There's 1 more here on the low ground where you can get a kill on guaranteed. And there's going to be at least 1 more as they come down and mine again. HeroMarine is just bleeding out workers so far. 6 workers going to go down. Only issue I have, I guess, is if all these units end up dying. Yeah, you've killed some workers, but what about, you know, the potential counterattack? Banshee tank on the way. The push here from HeroMarine could be deadly. MaxPax dealing with a Widowmine drop at the same time. So far, not taking too much damage from that. Doing a good job of staying clear of trouble. End up killing off 1 mine, and now going to have the 2 adepts coming up to try and chase down these other Marines. 8 SCVs died from HeroMarine, and I mean, they had to go down because look at the worker count. If you're 8 SCVs better off right now as HeroMarine, you're actually equal on workers. So it's not like MaxPax has been brilliant on his own kind of macro for the damage he's done. You almost expect him to be in a better position, but it just shows how committed he has been to just focusing on getting damage done over here more so than focusing on his macro back at home. And it's definitely had an impact so far. Cyclone kind of gives itself up for free, which is a bit of a shame, unnecessary, to say the least, as we have the Reaper on the back picking away the pylon. Marines starting to pick their way through an Adept, and well, this tank is going to hit the Adept a couple of times. We get one more Marine. We're about to have Blink. The Banshee turns away due to the battery, realizing there's just not an opportunity to really do much at all over there. And this Reaper now is going to get picked off as well, so that will also get chunked down. I'm just going to get sieged. And just going to be seeing our charge still on the way up. Observer coming through. Forge coming in. Battery on the way in. All of this getting set to go here. For the moment in this game, 1 of the best of 5. It's, yeah, I guess for HeroMarine a bit of a waiting game. Because he doesn't really have many upgrades or anything. He did commit quite hard into Raven, Banshee tanks, but moving across the map right now with just Marine tank when the Banshees didn't do much, the Stalker's out the front, feels a little bit hopeless, I feel like. I feel like you're not going to get much done. Likewise, MaxPax probably not going to find much opportunity over here. I was going to say I'd be shocked if he really commits to this blink into the main like he was setting up to. Didn't feel like it was really going to happen. That's a nice blink though. Kills off the Raven. Takes a few hits on Stalker's forward, but a Raven has so much utility in a game, so to get rid of it already just takes so much potential away from HeroMarine. Not a unit you can quickly just rebuild up here, because at this point you want a reactor on your starport, you want to be building medevacs. So you just, Raven not something that can really get rebuilt. By the time you rebuild it, you're going to be down a lot of medevacs, you're going to have no energy on the Raven. It's just a brutal one to lose, so HeroMarine, I believe, was just going observer hunting, trying to spot that obs on the high ground, see if he could get lucky and catch a kill on it. Ends up paying dearly for that. Tank's going to unsiege and press forward here, as we do have 1 tank, 2 tank getting set to go. Just going to be seeing our Stalkers taking 1-2 shots already. I mean, I'm a little bit worried about MaxPax's army supply. He needs to get some pure production going right now. Obviously, Temple Archive's finishing an Archon or 2 would not be bad here, but he does just need some amount of unit production. Otherwise, HeroMarine can just overrun him. He's going to go counterattack in the main. I almost want to say I don't want to see him warp into the main base, though, because I feel like if he warps into the main, that's going to be too much over on this side of the map, and then nothing to stop HeroMarine just crushing through his army on the other side. And he has not warped in here. He has warped in back at home, so that does feel like the better setup. As we already get 8 SCVs, decent initial force fields, although then the Zealots get caught up. Looks like the Stalkers were going around the back. I thought that when I saw on the minimap might have initially just been a Zealot flank that was getting established, but not the case. Archon dies very quickly, man. Even without the kind of warp-ins across the map, it's just a lot of units here, and the Zealot flank here has turned out to be pretty good. Gets rid of one of the tanks quickly. Now the other 2 tanks still alive and kicking, low HP units, but doesn't matter. They still pack a hell of a punch. The Banshee comes back in just for any additional damage you can find, as 16 probes have gone down. Huge damage done. And that Bioforce will knock down the Nexus. We scan once again, and just going to be seeing our army going back up onto the natural for now. Zealots charging through, a couple of Widow Mines getting burrowed up, blasting down some Zealots, a Stalker, all that good stuff, as we do see the Immortal trying to come down this ramp as well. A couple of Stalkers coming with this, as we do have our medevacs also coming forward here. The couple of Stalkers will get picked off. It's not enough firepower at all. MaxPax honestly didn't do badly across the map or anything, just didn't respect how many units he might need against this eventual push of HeroMarine. HeroMarine's just so good at hitting these timings. Top left is going to be down a map. Our Blue Pros, he really did, like I say, put this off to a decent start, and seemed like he was on his way to something good in the top left from Psystorm Gaming, MaxPax. Bottom right-hand corner will be the red Terran player, which is going to be HeroMarine. Game 2 of our best of 5 series then. See what's going to happen. drop a little refinery onto the main base here as well to get that going. We've got our racks coming up. Let's find the indie camera. Indie observe this. We may as well just use this cam here. As we head down the left-hand side with this probe and gonna see what is gonna go down. So yeah, obviously best of 5, and we'll see a bigger map here. Definitely one the Protoss players typically enjoy a little bit more. This one, Cosmic Sapphire. I think you saw this series before. Well, if you're watching the weekly on Monday night, you probably did. Like I say, just catching up on some games I didn't cast, and then using this little boost. I just trying to do some casting, basically. Just trying to get some games casted because, yeah, it's just tough during DreamHack. I know I've said that a couple times already, but it really is. It's just difficult during DreamHack to get stuff done and well, you know, all that kind of stuff, basically. Gonna finish up. Factory is on the way. Reactor building as well. I'm just gonna be seeing our Reaper beginning to move out onto the map here. So away we go. Showing up into the high ground, Adept is going to pop out. Just going to be deflecting this Reaper for the moment. Stargate producing in the main from MaxPax as we do have our natural about to complete. Let's just get that finished up here as our warp gate continues on and along. Put the grenade down, probe gets picked off, the Adept continuing through, and the Reaper taking a few additional shots here for the moment as we come back up the top side, and honestly maybe could have had another probe, but wants to prioritize getting that Reaper out alive, so, well, didn't even do that in the end, just hides it in the corner, but the same effect, make it so that MaxPax isn't quite sure where that Reaper is. We'll see if you start that kill on the probe, the Adept guarantees catches up, has a shade on top, and yeah, he's going to end up getting the probe now anyways, so. And kind of a later scout as well, right? And the later you scout, generally the better it's going to be. Oh, misclicks. That doesn't quite get the probe. The later you scout, the better, because the more updated information you have. So you see there's still a Phoenix on the way, for example, and that kind of info is always typically fairly useful. Viking Cyclone just continuing through and just going to be having our extra Marines still coming up in production. So the command is going to be starting to head out to the natural expansion as well. So just getting over there, drop that down, and get that going. In fact, the two Widow Mines coming through the top, and these Marines will press forward into the Adepts for just a handful of moments. One of my shots blowing up, but not really hitting on too much either. So MaxPax surviving nicely, obviously with the Phoenix count increasing. You're getting to a point here where the Phoenix are able to really start defending against these mines comfortably. You're going to be able to stop them from getting away. You're going to start clearing up well, and that's as HeroMarine sets up for this now. Fairly aggressive kind of anti-Stargate attack. Viking, Cyclone, Marine, just a lot of units that the Phoenix are not really designed to counter themselves, especially not if you lose a Phoenix like this. This is really bad for MaxPax. There's already a tough attack to hold, you know, typically, and now it's going to be even more so difficult. And the battery not ready yet, so MaxPax really wants to hope that HeroMarine doesn't fight before that battery's done, because you know, I feel like this is actually getting better for MaxPax once that battery finishes. Super battery will be available too, and that might just be what saves him here. I don't even know what HeroMarine was really waiting for. Maybe just wasn't comfortable attacking straight in. Maybe just felt like he was okay just to put a few shots out and to kind of leave it at that. Cyclone's lock on again. A couple of Vikings come through. The Phoenix, one of them really going down. Not quite though. And this will just be seeing the Cyclone's Marines backing up over the other side. Medevac going to come boosting across to the right now for the moment. Cyclone's going to lock on. Stalk's taking some damage. Getting rid of one of the Stalkers at the front there as two more Stalkers continue to warp in. Army of HeroMarine starts out through to the center, and again, a couple of barracks continue to build. The Marines all coming out, stemming +1 being brought in. And we do have this push from HeroMarine coming forward. A couple of these Phoenix already taking some shots, and just having our Marine Cyclone force keeping these Stalkers at bay for the moment. A couple of Zealots being picked off for now. Again, HeroMarine just staying aggressive, right? Staying on the front, kind of, you know, the frontal kind of attacks. And just teching behind it. It feels dangerous. And once charges, then I think it really is dangerous. But until then, probably is just going to get away with it. As you see, the Cyclones now being punished, finally getting rid of one of them. He's going to leave just before charge is done. You know, kind of just the timing knowledge of HeroMarine is so good here. The ability to recognize, hey, look, he's really about to get more powerful and probably too powerful for me to handle. I need to have Stim in combat before I fight him at this point. And that's when he takes his leave. Until then, he's pressuring, he's keeping MaxPax busy. He's stopping MaxPax from thinking about taking other things, like the 4th base, for example. Now, during all of this, HeroMarine is not exactly set up to play a nice, solid macro game. There's no 3rd CC. It's just a 2 base, and that's why it's even more important that he backed away when he did, because with 2 base attacks, they are going to be the most powerful when you have everything. Not when you've lost a chunk of units and then you 2 base all in. When you have everything maintained from earlier, and then you get to go and make the most of it. And that's exactly what HeroMarine is starting to do. I'm terrified for MaxPax because he's got such a weird kind of mismatch of an army. It's like 4 Phoenix are not really the kind of super scary Phoenix numbers. The Zealot count is decent, but it's really only the Zealot count in this game right now. We are starting to build Storm. Does HeroMarine let you get Storm? Probably not for the first fight that's going to happen, or at least for the first siege that HeroMarine is able to make. You can get it at some stage, but by then are you going to be in too much trouble already? It is absolutely very possible that that is going to be the case. Zealots want to move forward, and a few SCVs will begin to go down. So already the counterattack is looking effective. Like I say, no Storm here yet. HeroMarine will siege up his first tank. He's already got the mines burrow. Time to kite back and let these mines do their work. Blowing up on a couple of the Zealots, and the Phoenix count obviously not exactly lasting too well either. There's a super battery popping as MaxPax realizes it's becoming an all-or-nothing situation. Our of course has to come back away down this side. Tank shot still firing up a Storm, and the rest of our bio trying to move forward here. We will storm off onto the side. A couple of these mines will take some additional damage. Phoenix will pick away at a siege tank. The Marines still fighting here. The Zealots keep on going down. Everything's being cleaned out, and this is going to be our bio force continue to do very well. We come pushing forwards here and looking to just clear out in full. Going to be seeing another Widow Mine. Going to go chunking down on a couple of these Zealots, so clearing those out as well. Push forward. We're going to get rid of a few more probes, a couple of these pylons, and this does look as though HeroMarine is just going to win out in this attack. Yeah, I mean, what can you say? HeroMarine is just pretty freaking good at these timings, guys. I really feel like when he gets to control the first 6 minutes of the game as he did, then how the heck are you meant to have a chance when he comes for the 2 base all in? Like, you're not meant to be like, he backed away at the right time. MaxPax gave him some units across the map for free. These are all things that are just going to power up this timing. And yeah, like I say, at this point, MaxPax is, you know, forever going to be playing the issue with the numbers game. Now he's got to work a lead, but how do you ever get the chance to catch up in army supply? The Terran army will continue to trade extremely efficiently. So your worker advantage just doesn't mean enough. Not when it's only a 14 worker lead as well. You know, that might be, you know, different if it was like a 30 worker lead and you can hold on a couple of minutes, but yeah, in this case, 14 workers is not going to cut it. Not going to be seeing our bio starting to stem into the natural just a bit further. Some Zealots still going down the Archon as well. Zealots from the other side coming through here, and our bio armies just continuing to shove on through into the natural expansion. All of these probes continue to drop. HeroMarine takes game 2, and a 2-0 lead for our Terran player so far in this best of 5 series. A 2-0 lead from HeroMarine. as he is in the top right-hand side. Our red Terran player here on Waterfall. MaxPax in the bottom left, now playing one of the most Terran favored maps in PvT on this map pool, so let's see if he can find some magic on Waterfall, because this one is just short, it's aggressive, and you gotta expect that he is gonna be wanting to maybe use that to his own advantage as well, and already HeroMarine is changing it up a little bit by going double gas, so going double gas for himself gives HeroMarine a pretty reasonable opportunity to set up and yeah, just make sure that he's not going to let too much damage be done on the side of MaxPax. He wants to say, yeah, look, I'm going to be in control. I'm going to put pressure on early. I'm just going to really make sure you don't get to have too good of a time yourself. And that, I would say, is really not a bad goal to be had for the most part, honestly. Not a bad way to go about things. Probe and the SCV have a little nibble against each other. Scrapping it up for a few moments. Nothing too major, though. I see our Freeback's still building up on the barracks. All the commands still continue to come on through. And just going to be seeing our Nexus building on the natural as well. So, getting all this up and set and running. Just going to be seeing our Adept coming through as well. Our Warp Gate now on the way out. And the Nexus and the Assimilator continue to build up on the side of MaxPax. Obviously, CC on the high ground again from HeroMarine again. Big differences from when he played Showtime. Just playing much safer across the board on these openings, and you see that probe nibbling at a depot to begin with, and as the Reaper going to drop a grenade down to start bopping a few of these probes around in the skies and having some fun with this. We got rid of one of those probes already. The Adept is going to come out to chase, but yeah, a probe pull plus a probe dying. And again, just feels like HeroMarine is off to a decent start here as MaxPax is once more opting for a Stargate-focused opener. Like I say, kind of a smaller map, so we'll see if that is something which becomes intriguing, I guess, as we do see our Adept here still trying to fight against the Reaper. Probes. 3 of them dead. I mean, that's obviously not great when you consider it's just Reaper harassment. That's way more than it usually should be, so fantastic start, really. As we get this going in the early stages, a couple of mines going to continue to burrow up, and just going to see the Adept heading out through to the top side of the map. So, moving across over there, for the moment at least. A little bit of journeying to the upper right corner. You have our 2 Widow Mines coming down this right-hand side in the medevac as well, so HeroMarine really looking to keep up some pressure early. I mean, get a few more probe kills, and this is going to be looking great. Now, it is Phoenix, so Phoenix should, in theory, be able to stop this mine damage from being too much, but the Phoenix out across the map, so they're not going to be over here to help straight away, lifting up mines, etc. The Adept's not immediately in position, and at the very least, we're going to have to give up some workers here, 1 and 2. Obviously not the worst case scenario, but then you've got this medevac for now getting out. The Phoenix are pulling back to go and shut this down. It's going to be the first reveal of these Phoenix for a little while. So 3 of them going to jump onto this medevac, and the mines will drop, just making it so, well, you have to basically take a few moments to actually come and clean it up with the Phoenix. Cost you some energy, right? Better to force the Phoenix energy on something that's bound to go down anyway than nothing at all. May as well give it a go at escape, and like I say, force MaxPax to clean it up thoroughly more than anything else. Again, Viking Cyclone continuing up right now. The barracks are still on the way in, and our additional Marines reducing as well. Engineering Bay coming up to completion from HeroMarine. Just going to be seen at Robo Bay. Immortal. All of that continuing through as our few Phoenix come forward, and a few Marines begin to get picked off. SCV as well, again lifted up into the sky. Cyclone gets a lock on pretty much straight away, pushing the Phoenix back out down the right side of the map. Getting them removed from the situation immediately. It's going to come back to the top and see what they can do. Diving in, can lift up a Mule, an SCV. Viking as well, immediately in just a little bit of extra trouble here. Taking a few shots as we do have the Phoenix back into the center of the map. The starport is going to go and relocate over a little bit as well. It's just changing positions ever so slightly, and the Cyclone is going to be able to grab the Observer here with the help of the scan. So clearing that out. Removing that vision of MaxPax is just so important. Get rid of his ability to know what's going on, his ability to see your move outs and all of that. That stuff is just very important to be on top of because, yeah, I mean, it just helps you so much. It does so much for you if you're able to be careful like that. And it just makes MaxPax's life so much more difficult as he's Phoenix not really having too much fun. I thought that one was going to be dead if I'm going to be honest, but it did just slip out alive. So just about able to make it out okay. Job well done, I suppose, in the end. Basketball Vikings coming over again and just going to be sitting out on top of the natural here, and we do have Stim Combat +1 all coming up. A couple of Vikings coming through. All of this in production for the moment. As our Bioforce gets rid of the hallucinations, just going to knock that out the sky straight away, and now going to come back through the top side and in towards the center. The Phoenix will see this, and of course, again, it's just going to be one of those two-base commitments. HeroMarine has been very persistent with these as we get a Viking to land. And the Phoenix, again, already kind of forcing some responses. Disruptors are producing. We've got 2 Colossi, and now we're going to start building Disruptors as a way to try and deal with this 2-base. Remember, very short map, so this attack arrives very quickly once it sets out. There's a Phoenix straight away. Everything else is going to be hanging out here for a few moments. BioArmy still setting up just out in the center of the map as well. So, waiting to get a chance to keep on pushing through. I'm kind of surprised how far back we siege immediately. Kind of thought we might go a little bit closer to the base as the Colossi making use of their range. Battery already out of energy. First Disruptor shot isn't going to do much. A Cyclone and a I think even just a single Marine. One Colossus dies very quickly as well, and this so far is looking pretty good for HeroMarine. Obviously, is not continuing to break through just yet, but these tanks are going to try and get a siege. What does this Disruptor want to do? Run away, more or less. Maybe if the Phoenix can get a lift on every tank. But otherwise, it kind of feels like HeroMarine is just going to whack his way through here. Zealots clean up a few units on this side. I mean, maybe Zealots as well. Could be the deal breaker. And also no Medivacs, right? So without Medivacs, you actually don't have any healing, so this BioArmy is becoming a bit weaker every time you force a Stim. And that's a Stim, even though we didn't really commit straight away. Now we do commit. The Disruptor shot will be cancelled. We're going to land the Vikings, but landing the Vikings means the Phoenix can lift up all of the siege tanks, so MaxPax gets a really good fight. Now the tanks get dropped off. Do we have enough to clean those out? The Vikings going to be back in the sky. There's only a couple of tanks remaining. The missile turret's putting in some work. The Colossus goes down as well. MaxPax and HeroMarine both being absolutely brought low on supply here, but the Zealot reinforcements are going to clean up the final tank and could now probably go hunt those Vikings down as well. Yes, probably annoying to do so because they're just going to lift back up, but you've cleaned out the main force of this with a worker lead on your side, and now there's not really a foothold to be taken as HeroMarine. There's not really something to kind of keep pushing forward with that you've had in the previous kind of setup of this. So now maybe MaxPax really is truly going to be okay. Let's find out, I suppose, as we, for the moment, just see our army and MaxPax. Few probes getting back into the mineral line there. Just going to go pick off that missile turret and Liberators and Marauders to continue up on the side of HeroMarine for now. So, I mean, with the Libs coming in, maybe that is something you can use to try and just take that one big fight in his favor, get something done here, potentially. Waiting to find out as we do see the Medivac down the south side. Readying up and going to be creating a little attack into this natural expansion. So in we go. 1, 2, 3, 4 Vikings on the move as we get rid of a Stalker. We're going to look for more, perhaps, as just going to save. I mean, a Viking drops pretty much all Gabe has to spare, so it makes sense that he will just use that, if nothing else. I mean, they do shred workers. 69 to 48 army supply. And we're going to go again. The owner count here from MaxPax. It's like Zealot Immortal Stalker. There's not a single disruptor on the map, just one in production. No blink yet. That's on production. So is the +2. So it's just equal upgrades. Do we feel like MaxPax can clean this out? I mean, honestly, kind of comes down to how the engagement looks, right? This is very much so one of those cases where sheer number of units isn't going to do it. It's going to come down to how this fight happens. Can MaxPax find a good position? Can he get a jump on this army? I'll say, with the tank count being rebuilt here, that definitely helps. So you get rid of that first tank so quickly. The Immortals will die for number 2. We lose an Immortal, but yeah, getting rid of 2 tanks and the further forward tanks at that is going to give you a little bit more time as MaxPax for preparations. Take away a little bit of the deadliness that was available there as well as we knock down a battery, and I see the couple of force fields will come into play. Man, there's just 4 Liberators though. Without Blink, that feels difficult to deal with. Blink is still about a minute away, a bit less. MaxPax trying to buy time, coming in from the other side with the Stalkers. I guess if the Stalkers coming from the other side and the Stalkers, no, it's just actually a huge round of Zealots. Actually going to clean up some reinforcements. I thought Stalkers to maybe start flanking the Libs a little bit, but yeah, it just looks like we're going to go in for the Mega Surround. Who's going to go for it? No Blink, but I just feel like he knows he can't really wait too long. HeroMarine isn't going to even wait long himself before leaving the game, just accepting this one is over. This one's not going to go his way. GG's, and MaxPax is going to be taking game number 3. And we'll be doing that a lot in a couple of weeks' time. TLMC is around the corner. And obviously we run the tournament for that. We get to investigate all the new maps. That's always exciting. You always have a good time with it. HeroMarine bottom right, MaxPax up left. We go into Moondance for map number 4. Let's see what is in store for us here on Moondance. Been kind of a fun match so far, hasn't it? HeroMarine just continuing to hit with these very aggressive times. Might have to rethink that now that MaxPax has been able to find a hold, you know? Let's see our probe heading through the center of the map. I'm just going to see our probe heading in toward the main base here. It's going to see how our barracks finishing up. And the Reaper going to be starting out on this barracks as well. Our probe and SCV will start to nibble against each other. It's going to drop down the depot there as well. It's just starting to deal with it. As the probe continues to nibble through this SCV as well. So SCV taking a reasonable amount of damage. Reaper continuing through and just going to be having our Cybernetics core Nexus. All that building up for the moment here. As the probe of MaxPax back around to the right hand side. Well, factory is coming up on the side of HeroMarine, so we're getting that up into play as well. And we're just going to have our Reaper poking around, going to nibble at the pylon for a few moments, so just start to chip through that. And here's the Adept that will come around and just going to be chasing the Reaper a little bit, trying to get a hold of it. Reaper is just staying out of reach for now, and our Nexus a few moments away from finishing up here. So, again, a fun little scout to start out our game for the moment. As MaxPax looking to continue the bounce back. It was 2-0 down, brings it back by 1 at least. Oh, the probes almost had that Reaper. It felt like the Reaper couldn't get out. Just squeezed away in the end, and the pros are going to be devastated. That felt like that was an opportunity for them to shine by grabbing that Reaper. That would have been amazing. Just shut that Reaper down and, well, just make it a bad time, right? All grenade goes off, Adept will be popped. I'm just going to be seeing the Adepts of MaxPax continuing through the middle. for the moment. So down across the other side, start to pick up that info. We're back into Phoenix play. I mean, the Phoenix were really MVPs last time around. They might have died in that big fight, but boy, did they put in some work during that larger fight. It definitely went a bit of the distance, so I think there was a lot to be said about the power of the Phoenix in that last game. And maybe if it is just Phoenix again, it is going to be HeroMarine that has to really look at approaching this differently, because again, so far, he's kind of just been doing more and more of the same, but I don't really disagree that it's maybe time to do things with a little bit of a different mix-up, right? Don't want to get caught just doing the same thing on repeat. Especially if MaxPax has started to figure it out and starting to feel a lot more comfortable about the situation as well. Michael gets a lock onto a pylon and just initial poke here, trying to punish the Reaper wall off, so can do this. This is always fantastic, always very annoying as the Bioforce comes back in and will get rid of the pylon here. So the pylon will go down. Gateway, Cybercore, Stargate, all unpowered. And a couple of Cyclones will come through themselves, chasing those Phoenix down and just pushing those away to the sides as well. Cyclones and the Viking continue to hit, and we do see the Phoenix going to come lifting up, so the Cyclones both going to get lifted straight away here. Medevac is just not going to go down, just about gets to survive here. The Cyclones get lifted once again. These HeroMarines just doing so much damage. Phoenix after Phoenix dropping. That's 3 Phoenix dead. Trying to clear this up. I mean, that is brutal. It's a lot more damage taken than we probably should be seeing, so yeah, that really is a little bit brutal. It's a lot of damage done for the moment. Like I say, that is not something you're going to be too happy about on the side of MaxPax. And another Phoenix, oh my goodness. I mean, we just know that the Phoenix, like I say, they were kind of MVPs last game, and now they're not going to be around, or if they are, then it's going to be a huge rebuild, a huge reinvestment to get those back on track. Not really what you want to be spending money on at the moment, because we will lose a gateway, we will lose a Cybercore. Some nice pickoffs there for HeroMarine as Phoenix in the center will continue to chip away at this Viking. Viking will go down. The Cyclone there to continue pushing those Phoenix back to the south as well. And now units of HeroMarine looking to push at the front. Locking onto an Immortal for a handful of moments, and the Phoenix going to get locked onto as well momentarily. And we've seen HeroMarine and a few nibbles off on the gateway also. So far so good as our CC continues to come into play. So third base just building up on location. MaxPax starts his third so late in comparison. And this is just one of those games where as MaxPax, I think you just have to look at this and say, right, well, just gonna have to slow this down, play a very slow game, because this is really not looking good for me, right? And yeah, this is just gonna have to be, like I say, a much longer way of playing things out here as our Phoenix come through, lifting up a couple of additional SCVs, 3 workers going down. Make it 4, and I mean, with the pressure still at the front, HeroMarine is just not letting this up, believing he just has enough control right now. How many gates are we going down to? Just, well, actually, okay, just 1, because 1 just finished up, so really his gateway count taking so many hits. The tank here putting in some work as well. The Liberate does get taken out. We do get rid of the Colossus. The Phoenix showing up to save the day at the very end. HeroMarine will end up losing absolutely everything, but not before he takes down 1 more Phoenix. Like I say, he got an Immortal here, got a Colossus here. You still can't say that he's had a bad time. He traded out fantastically. Resources lost a little bit in his favor, maybe not so much, but he's also ahead in workers, much faster third base. And that obviously is huge as well, because he's been able to control across the map, while also back at home having that eco advantage. So you know that that's just going to start shining very soon. Once that production all gets online, it's going to cause absolute chaos for MaxPax, who is kind of feeling like he's going to be in a little bit of a world of trouble, quite frankly. Cannot really feel too good right now for MaxPax, unfortunately. See if you can bring it back somehow. As you have Stim +1 all coming in. The combat shield upgrade will be beginning as well. King's lifting up a couple of these SCVs. Medivacs will begin to boost away over the far left-hand side. And just going to go up that left-hand side and see where they can drop off and where they can get some damage done. Again, plenty of Marines coming through. The +1 attack about to finish. Combat shield coming up. Again, a little pylon across the top there as well. I'm just going to be seeing our Phoenix. We'll be coming back around for the moment, heading back down to the south. So far, so good. Looking for some harassing damage, such as picking off a medevac here, would obviously be really awesome. Big drop in the natural. MaxPax ain't ready for it. Has to drop a recall as he's in the middle of the map with the Phoenix. Oh, the Phoenix is going to take some damage here as well. Instantly, we say goodbye to 1. We say goodbye to 2. And I mean, I guess that's something which you don't mind too much as MaxPax if you do fully clean this up. And he is going to get a full cleanup, so maybe it wasn't so bad. But again, that Phoenix count is just never allowed to stabilize in this game. 12 probes died as well. That's 7 Phoenix now dead so far. The resource loss still even, so I mean, in that regard, MaxPax can't feel bad. It's just the fact he's down 11 workers, when a Protoss player probably should be up 11 workers against a triple orbital Terran player. So there's a single engineering bay from HeroMarine, which I find surprising. He's almost playing like a 2-base all-in off of the 3 bases, right? Like, he's not getting the extra racks, he's not getting the extra CC. Now he is, but stuff like the Armory and Engineering Bay number 2, I feel like are a very common occurrence to have been built into by now. So, yeah, I guess maybe a bit more of an aggressive way before setting up into all the rest of the macro. But boys, this just looking like HeroMarine is all over this game 4. The Vikings are going to start firing up a storm. A few Phoenix are going to be taking some hits. Tanks continue to siege and just going to be having our army of HeroMarine pushing up the left-hand side. It's going to go straight in. This Nexus already taking a little shot or 2 of damage. Tank shots continue to fire. We do have the Nexus knocked down already. No 4th base allowed here for MaxPax, and again, this feels like such a hopeless situation. MaxPax is going to need a miracle fight, and that is not it. Maybe a miracle disruptor, I guess, would be the way. Obviously, Zealot's running into a choke point against Bio is not going to be great. That disruptor probably wouldn't be too hot to fire right now either. I think HeroMarine would be on top of it. Obviously, fires now, and HeroMarine backed up a step or 2, but obviously still doesn't exactly deliver brilliance by a long stretch. Forward again, couple of Colossi getting chased back. The Vikings starting to pick off some Phoenix, and here we go. These tanks gonna start firing up a storm. The Bio Army will stand here and fight. Disruptors do get a decent connection. Wow, it's actually a good fight for MaxPax. No, that Disruptor shot's gonna hit big. All these Marines going down, and not a single Colossus fell. Wow. I mean, what a cleanup from MaxPax, and talk about resetting the game state. 4th base building behind this as well, because it built on that right side where HeroMarine couldn't get to, and all of a sudden, yeah, MaxPax still down a lot of workers from where he would love to be, but this is where the later 4th base, etc. of HeroMarine kind of bites him a bit as well, because now the game gets reset and he doesn't have a lot of leads to show for it. If you lose a fight, that's fine if you have other leads set up at home, but like I say, it was very late to his own 4th base. It's not even set up right now, and that means that MaxPax, with a great fight, turns this game around. Look at that army graph, just HeroMarine's army melting, a couple of disruptor shots especially, having something to say about that. Finally, we lose a Colossus. The one that was low HP in the front does go down. Surprise, surprise. It is a tough position to fight for HeroMarine because you're losing depots at the front. I mean, it's just valuable targets all over the place for MaxPax, even if he doesn't want to chase all the way in to fight the army. He can kind of let HeroMarine run through the choke himself to fight his army. And that's obviously what MaxPax would like to do. He says, okay, time to back it up a little bit. Let's get reset. Let's get some stuff back on track. Vikings looking for a potential little flank here as we do grab a Zealot. We stimmed too soon. That was an entire army stim for a single unit going down. Nothing else ended up engaging in. As HeroMarine has Zealots in the main base. Now he's losing SCVs, and for the first time in a long time, MaxPax will take an income lead and also just straight up the worker lead. So, I mean, that's been something which, again, usually the Protoss player has all game long. That kind of shows you just how much trouble MaxPax was in. Now MaxPax, dare I say, in the driver's seat. You mean now the worker count looks like what it should? Upgrades are kind of even. Again, still, we'll just say, Armory, second engineering bay, never built by HeroMarine. He felt like he was so convinced he'd probably just done well enough on the 3 bases that he just kind of gave up on continuing to tech up and set up for the future in case the game didn't end. And now that the game hasn't ended, HeroMarine looks a little bit silly for it, no? Because now you just don't have any of those, like I say, continued tech trees or anything that you could have had. And so you're just in a lot more trouble than you once needed to be in. Just didn't take advantage to get further ahead, right? Which is fine, but, you know, it's fine if you want to just play to end the game, but then obviously if you don't end the game, if this happens, this is the consequence of that. There's one more warp in before the Prism will get shot down by the Viking. And we're just using this as a way to pull units out of position. This 4th base orbital is not looking too hot. Not even a planetary 4th base. Again, just maybe a sign of confidence earlier from HeroMarine that is now being punished a little bit. Vikings are getting rid of the Colossi. The 4th straight up dies, so goodbye 4th base. Now stuck on 3. Zealots in the back. 17 more workers going down. MaxPax ahead by 26 probes. Wow, what a turnaround from 3 minutes ago where HeroMarine seemed to be all over this game to now MaxPax, I think, is in dominating position. He just needs to not die, right? At the end of the day, he just needs to not die right now because this is where HeroMarine has very few workers but very high army supply. So one big push can be very scary. That's what the Disruptors are great at, making sure you can overcome kind of larger army supply numbers. Medivacs on the left side getting chased away as well. The Disruptors kind of get jumped on. Do we get any shots off? Not really, not that hit. So actually, HeroMarine coming through and giving himself some hope again, killing off the Disruptors. Now there's only one Colossus, and that gets killed quickly by this Viking count. Then it's Archons that can be EMP'd, and what, one more Disruptor? The splash damage is not that impressive from MaxPax all of a sudden. And here we go. Can we actually take this fight? HeroMarine, can he make it happen? Does he have the EMPs? I see some ghosts in there? No? Oh, no ghosts. Well, then we don't have EMPs against these Archons, and then they kind of do feel a bit more unkillable. They are kiteable, though. They have pretty short range. Let's see what happens if the Zealots coming in front. A Disruptor shot actually lands pretty well on the top side of the Terran army. Reinforcements are going to get shut down by Zealots as well. Boy, those Archons are putting in overtime. Like I say, no ghosts in this force. Means MaxPax has way too much, and we tie up 2-2 in this best of 5 final. MaxPax getting the tie-up, getting the equalization. And that is going to be a Game 5 then on the horizon for us. One of the more macro maps. If either of these players let it get to you, because let's face it, HeroMarine has continually played aggressively throughout these series, throughout these games. 2 base all-ins, even on the 3 bases, a bit more of an aggressive kind of way of playing, cutting upgrades, just really trying to amass army and go, go, go. Just feels like it was working so well in the first 2 games, and now MaxPax seems to have figured it out that much more. Maybe it is time for a change of pace, as bottom left, MaxPax, top right, HeroMarine. Let me see where this final map will take us. Again, guys, I'll be playing a little of sponsored content after this as well. It's just a little reminder to that. But this is the last little StarCraft game of the day, because obviously it is DreamHack Day and stuff, so I got to do my sponsored stuff and then continue through. I think he would have been fine with the Planetary Fortress. I don't think he would have necessarily been able to save his 4th base with the Planetary. But the thing is, right, he could have had the 4th base down much sooner, so he would have had more infrastructure set up to rebuild from when he loses the fight. And then, you know, while that happens, you can also maybe have the extra infrastructure to get like a drop on, maybe punish the 4th of MaxPax, who sent everything across the map to counter when you lost the fight. I just feel like HeroMarine in that game didn't play to his advantage as well as he could. He played very much so to try and end the game. And, you know, he cut a lot of things that he could have kept on going with. Like, he didn't go into 2 upgrades. At the end of the game, he still didn't have an armory even, right? You know, he didn't build into the extra infrastructure as soon as he could have done. Like, he did build a 4th, but then he made it into an orbital. And like I say, I mean, that's just... Like, I don't think the orbital in itself is like, oh, well, if it was a planetary, it would have been different, per se. But it just felt like he wasn't taking the 4th base seriously. He was just like, oh, I've got some minerals, I'll put the 4th. But he never really moved it into position or anything, right? Like, even when he had it, it was just in the main base for a long time. So, from the advantage that HeroMarine had, it just felt like he could have been in a way more advantaged position Instead, he really just relied on his only advantage being a big old army in that last game, and then that big old army doesn't get the job done. You eat some bad disruptor shots, you're attacking in from one angle against the Protoss who has defensive units. Like, to me, that's, you know, it's fine to try and take those fights, and sometimes they go wrong, but you were in a position to have a backup plan if it had gone wrong. But we didn't get that set, so yeah, I don't know. That's my view of how that last game went. It's very possible, like, you know, even if you try and take that advantage, MaxPax comes across the map and does so much anyway that it didn't matter. But it's just, it reduces the chances of him being able to do that, right? Obviously, that's something now we'll never know because the game didn't really pan out like that, so... Let's just ask HeroMarine. Sure, I'm sure HeroMarine will completely agree with what I say. HeroMarine's been complaining about PvT for this last few months, even when he's winning. So, you know. Reapers and Hellion gonna move up the ramp here, try and put some pressure in as he drop a little grenade down. Adept is gonna dodge out the way. Phoenix on the way out as well, as we do have just a little bit of pressure here with the two Reapers and the Hellion pressing on through. I'm just gonna be seeing this Reaper in the main base gonna get cleaned out. Phoenix popping, another Phoenix on the way. That probe just hanging out in the middle of the map for the moment. There's our robotics facility. Is going to be coming up as well. Cyclone, medevac production, all on the way through. That's going to be seeing our Nexus coming up. Wolfgate and Robo facility continuing in for now, and just going to be having MaxPax pulling a little bit of units over to the main just because of this Phoenix, which is just going to be used to scout early. And again, just more Phoenix on the way up. The Phoenix really died off repeatedly early in that last game, something that MaxPax really wanted to get back in play, right? Yeah, the Phoenix just died and died and died last time around. Here comes HeroMarine to maybe put on a bit of that pressure again. Just try and get rid of some Phoenix, trade out nicely early game. See what we can do. And as we lift up one of these Cyclones, now the other Cyclone comes straight in to start fighting. Some damage being dealt, and Probe going down as well. For the moment, it's just going to be seeing our Bioforce coming over here, going to nibble at the pylon. The Nexus taking a few more shots of damage also, and just going to be seeing the Phoenix lifting up the Cyclone momentarily, dropping it back down. And there is the pylon picked off as our Nexus will continue to die. And that is going to be a cancel on the third base. So great start from HeroMarine. Cancel on the third base is already a big W. And if MaxPax can't break out and take his third, I mean, we start to see a game that looks very similar to one we've seen earlier as well. That's a Moondance, right? With all of the control, and he pulls back in plenty of time. No, not Moondance. It was the, what was the game where he stood outside the base forever? Was that just the last game? I just forgot because it got crazy. Was the, oh, I can't think of it right now. What do we see? Inside and Out, then Cosmic, then Waterfall? It wasn't Waterfall. Maybe it was Cosmic. I think it was Cosmic, right? Anyways, doesn't matter. We've seen this before where HeroMarine kind of just sits outside the base and controls for a long time, and then MaxPax, what are you really meant to do about that? As RoboBay finishes up right now, he's about to start playing 2-base Colossus with Phoenix support. And that's pretty much all he's got to show for his efforts here, is get rid of a medevac, a couple of Immortals. Trying to do decently here, but not really finding much of anything for the moment. As you do see our tank still firing up on this initial gateway. So Gate taking quite some damage. MaxPax will be heading into the middle of the map to try and shut down further reinforcements. Really reliant on these two Immortals right now. Has not gone into the RoboBay production. And he actually does get rid of the siege tank, so removes this initial positioning of his opponent here, which is obviously a great first step in the right direction. And we're going to lose a Phoenix, however. Got a Viking low. HeroMarine pulls away. All of this keeps it all alive. That's a nice buffer to have in a future battle. MaxPax really needs to push out to the third base, though. Without that third base, then he really is in just trouble, no? I mean, that would kind of feel bad, so I guess let's see what's about to happen as our few Cyclones splitting off to the side. The Vikings gathering up as well. Twilight Council Forge and additional gateways all continuing into play. This observer, I feel like, is almost certain that the Vikings have found out about it, so he tries to get it away, but the scan was there too soon. The observer sat there, all the Vikings basically death dot on top of it, and you're just like, awkward. little tiny bit awkward for sure, as Stim, +1, and Combat Shield all continuing into production for the moment here. And that Disruptor coming forward as well. So again, just a Colossus into Disruptors because he probably feels like he needs those Disruptors to realistically be safe enough for him to get anything done. So it's a tough little situation, if nothing else. As our army of HeroMarine comes down across the map. Getting ready to push in. And make life of MaxPax difficult for sure. Gets rid of an Observer, gets rid of a Probe. Vikings firing up a little bit of a storm, a little bio army just going to start chipping at the Nexus, and it's going to see a couple of tanks sieging forward as well. The Vikings will be there. Try and deal some damage as tanks blast through a Stalker already. So Stalker dying off pretty quickly, and now just going to see Super Battery pop, and we're going to start moving forward here. MaxPax moving into this force. I mean, the Bioforce is going to come straight up. Oh, the Disruptor shot's going to land, isn't it? The Disruptor shot is huge. I was going to say, I feel like there's no way you can win this as a MaxPax. That fight was looking horrible, but the Disruptor gets rid of a lot. Still not looking great, because Charge isn't finished yet. So that Charge gets finished in a few moments' time. One tank remaining. Obviously, the Disruptor got to survive, right? No, I think actually it died, but there's another Disruptor out. So we still have a Disruptor. Like I say, now having Charge, these Zealots are moving in full speed again. I'm actually going to go cut off reinforcements, but HeroMarine's pulling back to deal with that, so MaxPax just pulls his own Zealots away in response. I'm just going to be seeing HeroMarine, well, kind of again cornered up a little bit. Another Disruptor shot. I say cornered up, I mean potentially surrounded if those Zealots came back, but he's sending the Zealots straight across the map as HeroMarine's still pushing just off this 2 base, 5 racks all in. +1 in his favor, but not for much longer, so over time it's getting a little bit better here for MaxPax, who's now actually going to be able to catch reinforcements, and that makes a big difference. That should make his life a lot easier. And as in we go, a lot of Zealots is going to charge on through, Disruptor shots, bam bam. Oh, he missed the tank on the second one though, so one of those tanks didn't die when it maybe should have done. These Zealots warping in to fight against the Marines, and STV's dying across the map because the Zealots finally got into the natural, so that attack really ended up delivering. Shutting off some reinforcements, getting rid of some workers. HeroMarine doesn't even have an army supply lead anymore. I mean, the position is really awkward for MaxPax, and at this point I feel like he'd prefer to have the base up the left-hand side. That maybe allows HeroMarine to siege towards the main stuff, but then you don't have this rock kind of, you know, push down the choke through the rock sort of situation that is definitely causing issues at the moment. Definitely causing quite a few problems, no doubt, as Zealots will be back up the right-hand side, straight into the natural, getting rid of a Marine immediately, and we'll start to work elsewhere. The Medivacs on the bottom side here will boost through into the main base. The Phoenix coming across, and it's going to see our Vikings starting to fight. Getting a couple of kills straight away, and now the Zealot's going to loop around the sides and try and help out. Vikings nearly getting the Colossus, but not quite able to. Disruptor shot, nearly landing as well on the Medivacs, but again, just doesn't quite make it just yet, as we do have our next Disruptor shot again coming forward. Not quite able to land. Drop into the main, just going to be seeing our Stalkers. Actually, not going to be enough right away here, so going to force the warp in at the same time. Major fight, Persona out. Oh! Instant Disruptor shot again. And that, of course, is going to be a little bit tough. And it's just going to be seeing our Bioforce continuing through. Pylons will continue to be knocked down here, so we are getting rid of some of the production in the main base, which is nice. Stopping some of these gateways from being online, etc. And we're still fighting for position down on the low ground. HeroMarine has now got himself an army supply lead again. That Immortal and Disruptor were very low. We even popped the Super Battery to make sure they get healed up here as soon as possible, pushing back to the high ground. Zealots across the map again, making life difficult for HeroMarine. as he can't quite get his reinforcements to just comfortably come across to the other side of the map. Bioforce is going to go and hit the Nexus. Let's continue to fight this. The Liberator sieging up. Disrupt the shot. Dodge with the liftoff. Oh, Zealot Archon from the other side. There's a lot of Zealots actually doing very good damage. Not enough damage to get rid of the Zealot straight away there. HeroMarine still though, 61. Okay, was ahead, almost tripped, double the army supply for a moment, but loses out as a huge Zealot warping comes in. I just don't think there's much to fight off Zealots. It's very Marauder heavy here. There's no Marines for DPS. The reinforcements are too late to get here, and MaxPax dislodges this position. Finally able to push this back as HeroMarine is now just pulling the SCVs completely all in on these two bases. One last-ditched effort with the SCVs to try and stop the reverse sweep from MaxPax. Get rid of a Disruptor. Now SCV's pulling through. Zealot's going down. Liberator is going to get denied straight away. The choke point's obviously nice. And HeroMarine is going to leave the game right there. Just ahead in army supply, but the next moment the warping comes in, he's going to get overrun, I think, is the logic. And MaxPax is going to take it 3-2 over HeroMarine, figuring out and finding ways